All right, with me today, we got our buddy from Trophy Line, Weston Schrank. What's up, man?
Just ready to rock and roll. I know it's only July, or June, almost July. I just bought some fireworks, so I'm already in July. But I'm ready to start hunting. I'm getting excited about gear and just finishing up some like saddle articles. It's just that time of year right now, and I think people are starting to
Yep.
get picked up. So
Yeah, we now I'm recording this show with you the day after I recorded a show with one of our other uh guests that came out 2 weeks earlier than the show that I'm on with you is coming out.
yeah,
So, people are hearing this 2 weeks later,
yeah.
but the guest I talked with yesterday, he was like in the same boat. It's that July 4th. A lot of people put out trail cameras, which is what that show was about. A lot of people put out trail cameras, and it's like that's when mindsets shift.
Mm-hmm.
And, now we start really thinking about deer. We start looking at antler size, antler growth, and all this stuff. And so I'm in that mode too. I mean, I kind of been in that mode since I killed a few coyotes last couple weeks, and I'm just like, okay,
Yeah,
I'm ready to do deer stuff now.
yeah.
It's just kind of I'm there, so I'm with you.
I welcome the family time like right after deer season, and like I turkey hunt, but I'm not like a crazy turkey hunter like what some guys are.
Yep,
But I've got a 3 month old at home, so it's kept me out of the woods, and I'm kind of getting my first real scouting trip other than just picking up cameras. I'm putting the cameras out
yep.
now again, so it's nice. It's finally you actually feel like I'm gonna. Last time we went out at this time, I think you interviewed Bobby, yeah, at ATA. And
Mr. President himself, yeah,
yeah, we were at we were scouting some public pieces, and I think I showed you I found a big old match set this time of year last year, and
yep,
right across the
yep.
road from that piece on public, we found the drop tine. He had a big old drop tine shed he found. We were shed hunting in July and May. It was crazy in the summer.
Crazy. Yeah. Yeah, I usually make it till 4th of July weekend to set cameras out, but I now have two of them out. I don't know. I might be ate up, so I called the landowner at this second place yesterday because I recorded my show with Real, and I just got this like, okay, I'm gonna go drop some mineral and I'm gonna put a camera over this at this farm. I got to do it. So I called the landowner and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna come out and do that. You good with that? And he's like, yes, but just so you know, they're about to spray my farm with fungicide with drones.
Oh wow.
And instead of being like, maybe I should stay out, I'll be like, ah, fuck it, I'll be fine. And so I go out there. Now it ended up they weren't there when I was there, so I didn't have to worry about it. But I was in the woods and I'm sitting there dropping the mineral, and I'm messing with the camera, thinking to myself, how stupid am I? If these dudes show up and start spraying pesticide right outside these woods,
You can't
all
escape.
because I want to get some pictures. Yeah.
You won't be able to run from
So
that.
I no, I worked quick. I worked quick. I got it done fast. But um we did a show at ATA with Bobby about kind of what we're going to talk about today, honestly, but I want to get more into detail about it because it was a good show. And I feel like there's a lot of folks out there that still might have the same mind frame or mindset that I had going into last season. I mean, I'm a year into this now. I've
Mhm.
only been a saddle hunter for one season, and I still feel like there's people in the mindset that I had going into last season before I gave it a shot. And there's a lot of, I don't know if education is the right word, but getting unstuck out of what you've done before is important. And talking to a dude that works for a saddle company is a good person to talk to that about, because you've seen every type of person. The
Yeah,
guy like me, the guy that has been hunting out of saddles since he was 10, and is like, why is everybody just now getting on it?
yeah,
um I experienced a lot of things last season that I think you will be able to kind of talk about in this show, and then we're going to talk about some badass stuff that is coming out that is going to make a guy like me even happier.
Oh yeah.
So I guess before we do it, let's introduce you. Tell the listener who you are and then what you do with Trophy Line and a little bit about Trophy Line as well.
Yeah. So my name is Weston Schrank. I don't even know how old I am. 31 now. I've got 3 kids, and so I'm playing father a lot lately. 3-month old at home, so I haven't been in the woods a lot, like I said. But I'm marketing director for Trophy Line. I've been in the industry for about 10 years now, and I think I'm going on 3 years with Trophy Line. Before this, I was part of a marketing agency. It was called Stone Road Media. We did a lot of different stuff. We did like G5 Prime, Bone Collector, Muddy, like all the GSM brands. So we had our hands on a little bit of everything. A lot of trail camera stuff, a lot of land management, food plot. So just kind of come from that food plot, land management background. I was pretty heavy involved with QDMA and all that kind of stuff. And I felt like I was really on that path to land management and doing some things like that. And then honestly, for me, COVID hit, and like right before that, I was already losing a lot of private ground from changing hands, deaths in the family, whatever. And like long story short, probably went from like 600-700 acres down to like 120, and another piece just sold, and I'm like down to 40 acres of private, and that was all like privately owned and then permission, and between 2 different states, between Kentucky and Indiana, which I'm on the border. I'm in southern Indiana, so it's nice. I can hop into multiple states. A lot of tags there, and Illinois is actually only 2 hours from me, so I'm in a pretty good hotspot, I think, for some
not bad
deer hunting. And lost
right.
lost all of that land, so I had to basically start from scratch. And for me, that was public land. And just like I think you said, I was a person that was stuck. I had one buddy that saddle hunted, and that was, I would say 5-6 years ago. One buddy that saddle hunted, and I was, probably thinking the same lines you were. I was actually hunting with a lone wolf hand climber, 14 pounds, and I thought that was like, that was all the rage. Like that thing was super light. I liked it. It was way cleaner than the old Summit that was at least 6 pounds heavier. And but what actually massively changed my hunting and then eventually my career was when I went out west. My elk pack weighed, that 30-35 pound. I had dialed it in according to the Go Hunt guys, super gear heavy.
Yep.
I was eating it up. And I think that was probably the first time I got into like super heavy gear oriented thinking. And it didn't make sense because I was filming at the time that my mobile setup weighed as much as my elk pack. Like, why? I'm carrying way too much gear, way too big a backpack. I gotta slim this thing up.
Yep.
So and then everything else has been a result of that that shift. So
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I mean, I kind of feel like yours and I stories are very similar. I didn't lose property, but what happened was property around property I had permission to hunt sold, and the new landowner came in and removed every tree off of that farm, and it turned the hunting where I was hunting into garbage because I really was kind of hunting that farm.
mm-hmm.
I was catching deer, slipping, pitch points, and that sort of stuff from the farm that was the better setup, right? And when that farm disappeared, basically, so did the deer, right? So I got this new piece of property. Luckily, I got a good buddy who allowed me to jump out there, and Micah and I both got it. And there was no tree stands. We didn't have time to go hang tree stands. We didn't have time to do, really anything. And the amount of work it takes to freaking go put a bunch of tree stands somewhere, a permanent set, let's call it, is just hard, right? So that was the first domino to fall.
Yeah.
And the next domino is this. So I'm not a big person. You and I have met. Neither of us are big dudes, right?
Yeah.
I don't like a lot of weight on me.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I go out west elk hunting, if we are base camping and coming back to camp each day, I almost I would like to not have a pack on at all, right? I'd almost rather go back to the truck and get my pack to pack an elk down than I would have my pack.
Right.
So I would not carry, like I did not, I carried a small thing of water instead of the 3 liter bladder. I would have like, I think it was a 2 liter bladder. I didn't carry trekking poles because it was just another freaking thing in my way.
Yep.
I kept things really, really light, right? Because I didn't want a bunch of weight on my back. There's my Western setup. Now, when you're bivvy hunting and you're camping every night, yeah, that's maybe a little different because you kind of have to have a tent on you. You have to have a sleeping bag, certain things.
Yeah.
And then I come back here to Missouri and I've got this mobile hunting setup that I've had for, let's say, at least 5 years. And I'm not talking shit on anybody. I'm just telling you, this is what I had. I had an XOP Vanish tree stand that I bought the tree stand transport system with, which is basically a pack, if you've never seen it, that XOP made for your tree stand. And it's got these clips and it's really cool. It's got a hip belt and all that. And then I would have 4 Hawk helium sticks that I modified with daisy chains. So it made them a little lighter. And then I would take my pack and I would drop the seat of the tree stand down. I would sit my pack on it and I would, secure the pack to it. And that's how I would go in and out of places. Guess how many times I used that mobile setup?
Oh, maybe a handful of times, but it's probably painful.
3 times.
Yeah.
And by the 3rd time, I said, I'm done.
Yeah.
Because it felt like I was packing an elk into the woods every time I went deer hunting. And then I would do it, and it was bulky, it was heavy, and it's not even as heavy as what you used to do, with the climber. Mm-hmm. And by the time I'd get in a tree, I would be pissed off. Something would make me angry, all these things. And I got tired of dicking with it. So I just started hunting off the ground. If I wasn't able to hunt in one of my pre-hung stands, I just started hunting off the ground. And I did that all through that season. And then last season, I started doing that, just hunting off the ground. If I couldn't hunt in a tree stand, I hunt off the ground. And I do like doing that, so that's not that big of a deal.
Right.
But every time I was on the ground, at some point during that hunt, I'd go, man, it'd be nice to be like at least just 10 feet in the air right now. Just a little bit, because I'm a short dude. So sometimes it's nice to be a little higher.
Yeah.
And that's when we talked to you guys. I don't remember exactly how it went, but I had a conversation with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And I already had my stuff by ATA. So I'm trying to think when it happened, but I had a conversation at some point.
Yeah.
And I got originally I bought the what's the EDP? Is that the big your guys' big platform? I can't remember. The Mission. Mm-hmm. The Mission. So I got the Mission and I was like, that's cool, but it's too big. It's just like a tree stand for me. I want it. I'm a small dude. I don't need a big one. Yep. So I switched it out for the Onyx. And that was perfect size. And then I got your guys' just the regular double mini sticks.
Yep.
And then I modded them with daisy chains. I did do that. So I took the daisy chains off those Hawk heliums I had, and I modded those your guys' sticks with those.
Yep.
And I started doing that, and it changed everything, man. It wasn't that heavy. It was easy to get up and down. I would wear my saddle in with me, so it was on my person, so I didn't have to worry about packing it in.
Yep.
And when I got to the tree, I started climbing, and I was done.
Yeah.
And it changed everything for me. And I was a guy that was like, I can't believe people are wearing diapers into the woods.
Right.
That's, I used to make, like 2 years ago, I'd made fun of it. Like, you guys are wearing diapers and you're swinging off trees, what the freaking hell are you doing?
Yeah.
What do you say to someone who is still in that same mode that I was in just 3 seasons ago and, might still be in it now?
Yeah. I came from it too. And like whenever I first joined trophy line, and I hit the ground running with I think my first show was Harrisburg right after ATA, and that's Harrisburg's it's a grind. I only did like
Huge.
half of it, but it's 10
Yeah.
days. I did like 6 days, and holy cow, yeah, we did really good sales, but we talked to a ton of people. And I mean, it was just like lines back, that was 3 years ago. It's still really, really busy, but that was just incredible. And I was kind of like surveying, the customer base, if you will. I was just like, where are you coming from? And it was like, I swear 80%, 60 to 80%, somewhere in that range was coming from Summit specifically, like a big climber stand. And then,
Hmm.
the other percentage would be coming from other saddle manufacturers or just tree stand and hang on hunting, lightweight hang on hunting. And I think we all agreed after they tried the stuff and I showed them and how to pack it and, the whole system that you're kind of running right now, they were like, yeah. And we both agreed because I was there too. Whenever I'd get, especially if it was like a really far push into public or something like that, I would just be looking for a tree at that point. Like I'd be suffering so much. I think it was like a
I
mental
don't I
block.
don't even give a shit. Just get me up
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. It was like a mental
Yeah.
block. And I don't think you can. The biggest thing that we talk about internally is like, just like you said, kind of turning that key for people, opening that door where they can actually fully grasp the whole concept of mobile hunting and like what it can do, especially when you are on public or you do have a big piece of private or new piece of ground and you're just trying to like work it. And our motto is trying to motivate people to make the move, and whether that's like in the field, right, based off of intel, or simply making the move to saddle hunting, like just do it and you'll be glad that you did. um, and then like recently, just this year, I cut my weight way down in the current system that we have. Not the new stuff we'll talk about, but someone like you would actually love it. I have a single double step mini stick, and then I have the Wingman platform, which is the stick
Yep.
hybrid platform. And that's all I take is one stick and one that Wingman. And what I do is I have a 3-step. It's a backwoods life aider. This is what I use. And that first stick, and I'm like 5'8", wearing cowboy boots, so 5'7". And so I put
Hmm.
it up and it's 7 feet. And so I can be like, 13, 14 feet and just carrying that, which is roughly just under 5 pounds. So,
Damn.
which is lighter actually than the full setup that we're about to talk about, but not by much. And that full setup is going to be way easier to run than having to deal with the big
Yeah,
aider
yeah.
and things like that.
Well, and I've never used aiders quite
Yeah.
yet, right? I'm not saying I wouldn't, but I don't yet. And I'm the same height as you. I'm a 5'7" also. I guess I'd probably be like 5'7 3/4 maybe in cowboy boots. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not very tall, right?
Yeah.
And so, but I'm one of those guys that I don't need to be 30 foot in a tree or even 20. I'm
No.
okay with 15.
Yep.
I'm not scared of the heights. I don't really see the added benefit of being much higher than 15 feet. So for me, the 4 double sticks got me where I needed to be most of the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah, you're like, I probably could have climbed that a little differently and maybe gotten a little higher. But I really have never done that. And um, here's the point that got me sold. So I still have a bunch of tree stands, and I'm still going to keep using them.
Yep.
I have boys, so I've got a bunch of double ladder stands. I can go set those up in areas that we're likely to see deer in. I've got some hang-ons that I can go do a hang-on set, a permanent set, or I can even do like a 2 hang-ons together perpendicular where I could take the boys with me, or one of the buddies. But the property that we have, we don't know much about yet. And so every single hunt last year that I went on that property on, I was either on the ground or in a saddle. I never
Yeah.
sat in a permanent set, and it helped me learn a lot about the property. And I would say, so the first time I'd used my saddle, Micah was much better about it. He taught himself how to do it, and then he went out and hunted. I did not like not knowing what I was doing, so I was the guy that waited. I hunted off the ground, and then finally one night, him and I went hunting together, and we went into the woods and he followed me to my tree and he just showed me real quick how to use it. Just,
Yeah.
hey, do this. And I got up and I was like, oh, that was easy.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I told you. I'm like, okay, well, see you at dark, and off he went to his place. And I would say by the third time I was hunting, I felt totally fine. Like, hey, this is how I'm going to do this. Obviously, you do different things. People have different ways to get, how do I get the sticks up the tree with me, or what am I going to do with the actual platform? But dude, by the third time I hunted, it was like, okay, this is simple.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is what sold me, because I'm telling you right now, if I've got to work for 30 freaking minutes getting into a tree, I'm sweating my ass off and I'm pissed off, I will not do it again. And that's why I stopped using the mobile tree stand setup, because it pissed me off every time I went and did it. And so I just quit doing it. So
It's no
talk about
different
the
than
ease
hang
of
on.
use with the saddle.
It's no different than hang on hunting, and that's what I keep telling people. It's like you're literally hang on hunting, but instead of likely lifting a big heavy tree stand up on the last go around when you're already, like you said, sweaty, pissed off, whatever, because you're trying to figure out that tree, especially trying to figure out with a hang on. It's you're setting up for me. Like if I'm running the EDP in our little fanny pack plateau pack, that platform's right behind my back. All I have to do is reach behind and
Yeah.
it's around, and it's no sweat to set up. Even better if I'm using the wingman, because all it is riding on my saddle on my waist. I bring it up and I set it like a stick and it's done. Like it's both of those weigh the 3.5 pound roughly. Like it's nothing. And the other big factor, which, you kind of hit on, but when I was back again, when I was surveying people, like next thing I'd say is like, okay, 80% are climbers. Do you use a safety harness? And they'd laugh. They were like, no. And I was like, yeah, because it's kind of a pain in the butt. But from a saddle hunting standpoint, like a hang on until you get to the platform and you hunting height, it's no different. Like it's kind of hard to not be safe. It's hard to saddle hunt if you're not safe. Like obviously you can't even do it. So that's another big one. Is I think that people, when they figure out it's like, he showed you at the bottom of the tree. If you show them at a show and you're like, here's the system, here's how you run it, nice, smooth, and slow, but slow and that smooth is actually way faster than the climber or the hang on. It's way quieter. So that opens their minds up and they're ready to jump in full throttle. And I mean, you're in, like you said, you're going into your second year saddle hunting. And I mean, I'm going into my, I don't know, fourth, fifth year, like I said, and I'm still making massive improvements to my gear, whether it's the little stuff on how to carry the sticks up to the tree or doing aiders that, frankly, like that 3-step aider. I'm a small guy, but athletic, so I can handle a little bit of swing. And like a mistake for me isn't as costly as a mistake for a guy that weighs much more than me or is much bigger than me. I'm a $175. So like if I make a mistake, I can catch myself. It's not like costly, when it's slipping and something hurting. But that, I was able to drop 1 or even 2 sticks from my setup. That was huge for me. And then also using some of our packs and setting up way more minimally, and even lightening up my, self-filming gear. My setup last year I thought was super clean until we kind of break into the new stuff, and now it's going to be it's hard to imagine where it goes from there. Honestly,
How are you going to top it? Yeah, we'll start getting there yet, but
yeah,
dude, I'm in. I don't know. I hope that'd be great. The the change, like I messed with my setup the entire season because I loved it so much. You get to like, okay, this is awesome. I want to do this now. And I'll talk about a few things I did, but the safety is the biggest thing. I guarantee you there are a bunch of hunters out there just like me. If you're hunting out of a hang on, I had a safety harness. I wore a safety harness when I was hunting out of a hang on. But guess what I didn't do until I got to the top of the tree? I didn't tie off. I wasn't using a safety rope. So I climbed and then hooked in.
Yeah.
So all that 15 feet or whatever it was, I was exposed to fall.
Yeah.
Um, ladder stands. I climb the ladder stand and I tie in. So that entire climb, you could fall.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and now with a saddle, you're tied in the second you start climbing.
Yeah.
And it's so nice too because as you're going up the tree working, you just set your rope the way you want it, and you just lean back and you do your work, get your stick up, and you move up to the next stick and you lean back, and I felt safe from the second I first did it. Like the first time I leaned back, I was a little like, this is weird. And after that, you know that you're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And it was pretty
Better to do
sweet
that at the base of the tree rather than 20 feet up when you
for
lean back.
sure.
So,
Yeah,
so we always say,
definitely.
practice first, but yeah, no, I think like, and I'm just sitting here like writing down what if I were to say to somebody like if they could hit that 2 or 3 year level within the first year, I think it just make it work for them that much better. So I'm sitting here writing down like, okay, if I'm sitting here saying what should you do to your setup to your gear that's going to make you just fall in love with that much faster? You make the jump to saddle hunting, you immediately fall in love with the gear like you did. But
Mm-hmm.
like for me, the biggest things that helped me year maybe 2 or 3 or whatever was I picked up the 3D printed hooks, put them on the molly of my saddle, and I'm running the instead of paracord and loose. I really hated the loose sticks maybe banging together or
Yep.
whatever, and just a whole lot
Right.
of weight on my saddle. So I would
Yep.
just make sure I've got the 3D printed hooks that hold them more stable. So that was a big plus. I swapped for daisies as well. Fell in love with the daisies,
Yep.
and then
They're sweet.
yeah. I ran actually some big ones. I think I bought them from Sam Amstill guy. They were like 8 footers, and sometimes those weren't even big enough for some of the poplars and stuff I was hunting. It was crazy. So that was a big one. Hockey taped all my sticks up, my platform up, made them dead quiet, and then I'd always recommend if you want to slap a little paint on there because it just makes it your own and makes them just that much more sweet. And it's just it's all personal preference, but if you can
You
really
do. You get stuck on the
attach,
gear for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, you get
Yeah.
attached to
Like
it.
I have two of your packs already. The first pack I bought was the carry all your shit 2.0, the case, whatever.
Yep.
And I love that pack. But shout out to one of our listeners, Nate Stanton, out in Missouri. He uses your guys' plateau pack, and he talked about how much he loves it. So I have that pack. I've yet to use it because I bought it kind of towards the end of the season,
Yeah.
and so I was like, well, I'll wait till next year and mess with it. But he swears by that thing because it's even lighter, keeps keeps the air flowing through your back when you're walking because there's no pack sitting on you. Um, there's a lot to like about it, so I'm excited to use it next year.
Yeah.
But man, the whole season, it's almost like I was looking forward to the next time going hunting to try this out. Right, I'm gonna do this time. I remember I bought and I forget what it's called, so you might have heard of this. It's a little thing. I think it's by 3D printing, Genesis 3D printing, and it's a little deal that helps you hang your platform easier. It
Oh,
attaches to your strap. What is
yeah.
it called?
Yeah. I can't remember the
I don't
name of it.
remember what it's called.
Yeah.
I
It's
can
like,
Google it
it's
while.
an assist. It's an assist to basically, yeah. You
Yeah.
can hang that
So
platform.
basically, what it does is you don't have to have your platform out. You just have your strap. You
Mm,
put the strap on the tree, and then it holds the two loops right on top of each other. So then you can just stick the platform right there in it
yeah.
and tighten it, and it's done.
Yeah.
And I used that for the first because if there was one area I struggled, it was getting my platform exactly where I wanted it, or just getting it done correctly.
Yeah.
Just because I was new with it. I'm actually on their website right now trying to figure out what it's called
Yeah.
because it wasn't expensive.
Yeah. I was just thinking out
But
loud with what you're running. I think you'd actually love that wingman even more just because you can't set it like a stick and it's done, you
that's
know?
kind of what I was thinking. Yeah,
Yeah, and that plateau
yeah,
pack, I mean, that's money for setting stuff because it keeps your stick separated from your platform, and then what's really awesome is you can approach a tree when you run that thing. Pay attention to the way that you don't have to take that pack off. If you have your bowstring in your hand, you can literally reach around, grab your sticks off, bring the bundle around, and start going. And the platform just stays up there. You don't have to unpack anything. You don't have to increase ground scent, whatever you want to do. You don't have to do it. You can just start running up the tree, which is awesome. But yeah, and the other big thing I've just remembered is pick yourself up some mechanical ascenders. Like those things, when the tree gets smaller and you can just wrench on that rope instead of trying to mess with the Prusik, it just makes it that much smoother, that much faster, that much quieter.
I bought those immediately. That was when I first bought everything. It was one of the first things I did was I got two of them because I don't remember my setup now, but I got two of them and I don't think I used one of them.
It's
but
important.
Yeah. And then it's just sweet because if you're just a little bit off, you can just move.
Yeah, and you can also take your lineman. Like once I'm done with my lineman, a lot of people just put it back in the pouch, and I like to use it instead of bring another piece of gear. I'll take it off of my saddle, run it around, and then it's an adjustable plateau pack holder or pack holder, whatever you want. You got the loop. What's really cool about the plateau pack, or really any pack that has hip straps, you can wrap that around the tree, adjust that plateau pack because you're running it on your linemans, and those can be your knee pads for when you put your knee in the saddle. So definitely make sure you use.
I have so much to learn. Yeah, I have so much to learn. Yeah, I did those things. I hadn't even thought of that.
That matter.
Yeah, no, I agree because I remember after my first hunt, then I took some paracord and I put it through the hip belt loops on my carry all your shit pack.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would put my sticks. I'd put the one stick on, then I'd put two sticks in there. I'd climb. Actually, no, I'd put the first stick on, then I would put the second stick on because I could still reach basically.
Exactly.
I'd put the third and fourth stick in those little things. I'd climb. And then I still struggled with the actual platform, right? And that's when I bought that gear, whatever. I don't even think it's from Genesis 3D printing. I think it's from somebody else.
Really?
I don't remember what it's called.
Yeah.
It was like a $10. I mean, it was not expensive and it's easy to use. And then I would do that. Yep. And I'm like, that's sweet. And then the next time I would hunt, I would go, okay, I don't like that my gear was up here. I want it more right here. Yeah. I want my bow to be on the left side. I'd rather, whatever.
Yeah.
And so it was just like every time I went out, it was something I was messing with. Yeah. And that's just kind of proof to me that it was something I was enjoying doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a stark difference from my mobile run and gun tree stand setup. Now, I'll be the first to admit, I did not have the lightest mobile tree stand setup. I know that.
Right.
The XOP Vanish is not the lightest hang on in the industry. Yep. And the Hawk Heliums are not the lightest sticks that you can be running. I get all that. Yep. But it's what I had and it's what I spent money on. So that's what I used at the time.
Yeah.
And dude, it was so nice. I didn't even realize I was carrying stuff into the woods. And that's from a guy like me that does not like weight. That was the most important part.
Yeah.
If I felt like it slowed me down, I wasn't going to do it.
Yeah, it really is. And I was going to comment when you were talking about what you had on yours, my setup literally looked like maximum 2 sticks in that wingman platform because I'm using that 8er. And I mean, that's right there. It's 21 feet. Well, if I would put that first stick up, I can't reach that second stick at all because it's going to be 7 feet off that. So I had a Kyle Skelly Innovating the Outdoors. He makes this little double stick hanger. And then Genesis 3D makes its version of it. Well, I can't remember what it's called, but it's just the double stick holder, or whatever it is. It's got an acorn that you put on the one side, and then it's got a hook that you put on your saddle side. Well, that was important because I can't just put the wingman on my belt. Well, that thing's got a platform on it. It's literally like a hammer. It swings and it'll bust off.
Yeah.
So that acorn allowed me to basically put that on my left. So at the most, I've got a wingman on my left, a stick on my right. I'm up on one stick, and then it's the other stick, and then it's the wingman at a maximum. Maybe I don't even run that second stick, so I'm just going straight to the wingman. And you can't get any smoother or faster lighter. I felt like I couldn't get any lighter than that setup right there. And, obviously until this new stuff's coming
Yep.
out. So,
Yeah. Okay. So I found it. Can you see that? It was called the Strap Stager. It is from Genesis 3D,
okay.
and it is from them. And
I'll have to check that
here's
out.
like a little. See what it does? It
Okay. Yeah, it is.
brings the loops of your platform together, so that you don't have to be holding like everything, and
Yeah.
you can just do the strap first, and then the all you got to do is put the Versa button in the two holes, and boom. And it
Yeah.
is not expensive.
Yeah.
This isn't a plug for Genesis 3D, but they made a good product. It's 16 damn bucks.
Yeah. Having to
You know,
mess
it's
with
a nice
the
little.
buckle strap, and holding the weight of a platform can be a little tricky at times. And I barely hunt from a platform some of the times because that wingman. But if I do, I'm trying to use my knee and then throw it around. But some of them trees are just still a pain in the ass.
Well, and if you're a guy our size, we don't have long arms.
Oh, it's a T
So
Rex.
sometimes like it's hard to get around a tree and do this
Yeah,
when you don't have long arms.
exactly.
You know, a guy like Andy, you met Andy, he's 6'7". He has
Yeah.
no problem putting his damn trees around or arms around a tree.
He
But
also
you and I are sitting there like
he only needs 2 sticks and no aiders, and he's already 12 feet up the
he's
tree.
up, yeah, he's up there. Yeah, he pisses me off. He doesn't even need to be in a tree stand. He can just stand there.
Yeah, pretty
But
much.
um but so yeah, I mean there's so many options, and like I said, that's what's awesome about saddle hunting to me is the lightweight in and out,
Mhm.
the lightweight up and down is the other, big part for me. I haven't mastered the way I go up and down a tree yet, but every time I've ever done it, it hasn't pissed me off.
Yeah.
And that is what matters most. Even the very first time Micah showed me how to do it, I hung a stick, I hung a second stick, and then I came down and got a stick. And then I went up and hung it. And then I came down just because I didn't want to rush it and I didn't want to do anything wrong.
Yeah.
That didn't even piss me off. It was still like, okay, this is no big deal.
Mhm.
Now, obviously, as you get more into it, you don't want to come down. You want
Yeah.
to go up and then come down at the end.
Right.
That I 100% get, but it wasn't like I was working hard
Yeah.
because nothing I was using was super heavy. So, yeah, I'm just, my pitch to the guy or gal that's listening to this that is like, saddles are stupid, you guys are dumb. My pitch to them is, if Nate Thomas can switch, and Micah Winstead, by the way, Micah was probably even worse than me. If us two guys can switch to saddles, anybody can. I'm
Yeah.
telling you now. And it's not because of anything other than it just was easier for us and made us better hunters, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I
So
don't.
what would your pitch be?
I wouldn't want to get into that argument of like, oh, any tree, that type of thing, hang on versus platform. Like, there could be a big battle there, but in my opinion, literally, and I had a really big kind of perception when we went to Nodak for the first time last year, and just dealing with that up there and very specific setups, but then like really having to think outside the box, depending on the field and the setup. Like it was just like never. I think when you grab a tree stand, you have like a commitment. It's that commitment issue, and it was never that commitment issue. We'd go into it, and we were hunting in a bush, and then the next second I know, I'm filming a guy, and he is in it's a little sycamore or cottonwood tree. I mean, it's no bigger than this big around. He's at the top of it with the mission platform, which was crazy. And the thing is leaning back, and he's only a buck. I'm like, first off, that is the mission platform, but still, I wouldn't think you'd want to put a hang on. And he's, facing the right direction. And I think one of the other big things for me was whenever I was in a climber, I felt like I had to make a choice between sit down or stand up, because I didn't run one of those, bow holders where it was right there in front of you on
Right.
your tree stand. It was always off on the tree. And I always felt like I was never at the ready. With a saddle, I don't care what I'm doing. I feel like I'm ready to rock and roll no matter what happens. The bow is right there. I'm tucked close to the tree. People say you have a further out silhouette. Well, that's just because they see the marketing of that image, that frankly all the companies are guilty of using for sure. But 90% of the time I hunt, I'm sitting and my knees are into the tree and I'm just sitting real close to the tree, my silhouette. I've usually got the deer or the tree between me and the deer, and I'm literally ready to go. So I think that between the safety, the minimalism, also the open door it gives you to mobile hunting and thinking outside the box and not being committed to something as heavy is a big deal, because it gets you looking at intel more. It gets you looking at the spots more, because frankly, you can walk in and you can set up almost anywhere. So that is a really big, I think, a really big deal. And, it may take a year or two of saddle hunting to actually learn the full scope of what you can use it for.
Well, and that's another good point. I'm a stand to shoot type of guy also. So anytime I'm in a tree stand, if I see a deer, the first movement I make is to stand up, because I shoot standing up. That's the way I practice. So I don't know. I just always have naturally stood up. Andy stays sitting down in his tree stands when he shoots. Whatever. But I always stand up every time. So
think about a saddle.
When you got
if you sit, you got the seat, you've got your feet on the platform, and you can put the knee into the tree. So you've got way more contact points than, because you've got the tether, you've got the seat, you've got way more contact points. So you are a lot more. We filmed an educational piece with Levi Morgan. If anybody is going to feel insecure about shooting a bow, it's going to be someone that does it for a living and does it the best at a living. And he said right away, I like to put my knee into the tree, and that stabilizes me on those strong side shots. And then on his weak side shot, he, I don't know if I've showed you or you even know, but the seatbelt method where you tuck your shoulder, roll, put your back to the platform. Roll. He loves that because it literally is like you can plug it in a seatbelt and it just locks his core in to make that shot. He almost feels better because instead of a loose tether on a tree stand harness, it's got you. You can lean against it, and the smaller you get with a hang on or a climber, the more you're doing the little dance of trying to keep your arms and elbows. Don't bump anything off the tree. You're trying not to fall because it's going to hurt like hell, and then you're going to have to self-rescue. You don't do that. You're like way more confident. That doesn't mean more movement. I think it just means smoother, more consistent, like you're ready to rock and roll no matter what happens.
Yeah. It can mean more movement based on you.
Yes,
like if you sit there and swing around in the thing because you're having fun, sure, that's more movement.
And you
that's
might
not the saddle's fault.
Couple of hunts. You might have a little bit more fun with it, but eventually you won't.
Yeah, but that's not the saddle's fault. That's just the user in that situation, right? I mean, I do a lot of standing and sitting in my tree stands because I don't know if I get bored, but I stand up for a while and then I'll sit back down. And, I'm not saying I'm like moving all over the place, but that is movement. So, yeah. So I don't know. That was I think it's important to know what the benefits are. And, if nothing else, if you know somebody that's got a saddle, why don't you go over to the house sometime and just mess with it and just have them show you how they use it, climb in a tree, at their house and just sit in it for a few minutes and see if they'll let you borrow it. Maybe you just take it on a hunt yourself one time. Just try it out. Because if you're like me, the first time I used it, it was the last time I had to think about it. It was simple. I still have my Vanish. I still have it all, but it's covered in dust and spider webs in my shop right now because it hasn't been out in 2 seasons now. So yeah, I mean, I haven't had to worry about it.
And better yet, like we have a 30-day risk-free guarantee. You can literally buy. We have 6 kits on our website right now that we handpicked. We also have something called the Saddle System Builder, where you can literally test or put in everything that you know about yourself and your hunting style currently, or maybe where you'd like to go. More public, right? Yes, packing deer out, whatever you're going to do, and we'll literally recommend a kit for you. We'll recommend an individual saddle, pack, platform, set of sticks, and with the 30-day risk-free guarantee, you can try everything. And if you don't like it, no questions asked, return it within 30 days. So you can literally pretty much purchase and own your own saddle setup and return it back to us if you don't like it. But that's far and few between. We hardly ever get them back. So you can
Yeah,
try.
there's a reason why companies offer that, because it's usually not happening very often, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it makes it easy to guarantee, like you can use it for easy. You can buy exactly what you would want to get. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
realize you guys did that.
Mm-hmm.
You can get exactly what you would want to get. So you can go out and spend as much as you would have spent and try it for 30 days, just like you said. And if you don't like it, I don't like it. You probably have to pay shipping back, is what I would guess. So you might be out some shipping, and that's all. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
that's a pretty sweet setup. I didn't know you guys did that. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. We try to make it as friendly as possible because, the biggest thing, we were the first saddle hunting company back then. But back then, they didn't have the internet. They didn't have YouTube. They didn't have great guys on YouTube. They didn't have podcasts like this. They didn't have all this, and they didn't have the educational tools. So, it would sit on shelves. Now it's a completely different ballpark where you can learn something, pick something up pretty fast. And so but I think that it's still, like you said, it's in people's mind. They got to get unstuck. So if we can lower that barrier as much as possible, that's our motivation to make people make the move, get into saddle hunting, and start opening yourself up to the possibilities.
Yeah. Well, speaking of sweet setups, so my current setup, like I was saying earlier, I've got the Onyx and then 4 double mini sticks.
Yeah.
So I think my double minis with my daisy chain setup weigh somewhere around 1.5 pounds a piece,
Yep.
somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just say my sticks weigh 6 pounds.
Yep.
Total.
Mm-hmm.
And then my Onyx platform, if I'm correct, weighs somewhere around 4.5 pounds.
Yep.
So let's just say 5. Am I about right? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my sticks and my saddle total weigh about 11 pounds.
Yeah. Yep. Normal saddle.
And I was
yeah, you're in that 10 to 12 pound range.
Yeah. And I was really happy with that last year. 11 pounds, whatever it was, 10 to 12. I never actually weighed everything, but I'm just going off of specs and stuff. So 11 pounds or so. And I was really happy with that. I don't know if people know this or not, but Trophy Line is coming out with a new setup, sticks and platform called the Hyperlite. And if I get 4 sticks and the platform in the Hyperlite version, I'm going to cut that 11 pounds at least in half.
Yes.
So let's talk about the new Hyperlite coming out, man. And I got a chance to hold everything, but let's talk.
Yeah. So Hyperlite it's actually been a project 4 years in the making. We had an idea to make, a unibody stick and some of these other concepts that one of the most unique things about it is what we call a flat stack, where it almost solo cups into each other on the sticks, and it allows them to stack extremely tight, yet still be functional to wrap am steel around, wrap the cordage around, and also not almost minimalize as much as possible the contact points. So where you see our sticks differing is there's another big difference, which is the material it's made out of. But from the design function, we had this design for a long time where we wanted to minimalize, the contact points, minimalize the stacking and how the packability of it, just making everything. And it doesn't stagger because of the solo cup, that flat stacking. It doesn't stagger. It literally is all in line, which when you're running a thing like a plateau pack and you're running these sticks on the bottom of it, it is a 17-inch step to step. You are literally, it's inside your silhouette, your shoulder silhouette. And if you run it vertically, it's not staggering up either. So the packability is unparalleled. But the material it's made out of, we looked at all the material in the market. You got carbon coming out, carbon mixed with other elements and different materials, obviously aluminum. And we just felt like maybe carbon wasn't exactly where we wanted it. Some of those technologies, we wanted something kind of. Trophy Line carries a lot of weight from a safety standpoint, and honestly, being overbuilt, it takes a truck to break some of our platforms, literally over that weight. So a lot of people have a lot of trust in the fact that we really over test our gear. And I think that's also something we said because Hyperlite is getting very close to releasing, but we're not doing pre-sale. Pre-sale is messy. We don't want to get into it. We trust our gear and we want to make sure that we have it and it's in shelves. It's on shelves at dealers and we're selling it before we release it. We don't want to take people's money and get into that mess. So,
Right.
but we're really proud of it. The material is, we looked at again for a long time. It's called Magnite. And what it is magnesium, but it's also mixed with a bunch of other elements like ceramics and just it's a proprietary concoction of different things that give it a lot of strength. And what it equivalates to is a metal that is 33% lighter than aluminum and 20% stronger. So if you can imagine, you are looking at a stick and you're holding a stick that is,
It's metal.
it's metal, but it doesn't feel like it. Literally feels like it's porous or it's light. It's crazy.
If we would have videotaped, I don't know if you remember this because you've been to a lot of shows, but when we met you guys at ATA, you handed Andy, who is a large man, we already know he's 6'7", you handed Andy a stick, the Hyperlite stick. And when he went to grab it, he braced himself for a metal thing because that's what it is. It's metal. And he's like, when I grabbed it, I could have smacked myself in the face with it because he was like, he was ready to grab. And it's almost shocking when you grab one for the first time because it is metal. To the layman person, a guy like me, it is a metal stick. And metal sticks should not be that light.
No.
That's what messes with you, right? Like you go to grab it and you're like, what the space age crap this? Like this should not weigh nothing. It's pretty crazy.
And literally, this stuff is being used in the military and space. And the only outdoor industry hunting application this is in expedition bows, X-Lite. I actually have one, X-Lite 29, and it's just unbelievable how lightweight the bow is. And I think the bow side of things also brings out the other, it's got vibration dampening properties over aluminum too. It just dissipates and absorbs energy differently better than aluminum. So you have the lightweight factor, but it's kind of hard to describe. Like, and you again, firsthand holding the sticks and being able to play with them, you understand this, but when you do hit them together from a base of, again, being an unwrapped stick, it has a deader sound to it. It doesn't ring like this stick would if it was just pure aluminum. So that's also a really cool factor. But one stick by itself is 17.5 ounces. So your 4-pack is 4.5 roughly. And then the platform, which for those of you people that are familiar like you with our platforms, it's an EDP basically, but made out of Hyperlite, just around 2 pounds. So it's incredible. I mean, that's a extremely lightweight platform that's going to hunt like the EDP, and the EDP is easily hands down one of our most successful platforms. So it's going to be awesome.
I'm gonna go from, if I keep my 4 sticks, I'm gonna go from 11 pounds at the lightest, by the way, probably, to 6 pounds at the heaviest.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's
6.5 pounds. That's your base system, which is, that's incredible. Because the lightweight hang-ons are in that realm. Just the hang-on itself, even some
just
of the
hang-ons, and we're talking about 4. We're talking about 4 sticks, not 3. 4 sticks and the platform. Weighing right around 6 pounds. That's, for a guy like me, okay, done deal, because that's what I'm looking for. Now there are plenty of saddle hunters out there that are happy with our setups probably. And that's great, but I'm happy with my setup. But if you could say, Nate, I'm going to make you even happier because we're about to make this even lighter, that's where I say, well, where do I buy it? where do I sign up? Because that's great. So yeah, you've got them for the people watching on YouTube. You've got the sticks right there.
For people listening and not watching, this is roughly the size of an iPhone 13 wide. So it's like you're holding an iPhone in your hand, and that's how they're stacking. And I've got one. Detail. So actually, this is just me playing with the hockey tape. I'm a big fan of hockey tape wrapping, but you can literally, like, that's dead quiet. What I've done is basically these are solo cupping. Again, this is called our flat stack. So these are solo cupping in where they just nest.
Okay. Yep.
And all I've done is just put a single layer of hockey tape on the backside, and it is dead quiet. And I've also wrapped just a little bit on the stairs. So when you're actually kind of coming through here, the steps, that's the only other place it can come in contact. You don't have to worry about wrapping the entire face of the stick because it's not hitting. There's also no cam buckle
It's
strap.
not touching.
So there is no point really. And I mean, if you want to, sure, but you don't have to. So, I mean, it's dead quiet. So
That's sweet.
And this is the way that we're wrapping them. So we are running these quick hitch tabs. So what it is an am steel with a Swavish, and it's a USA. So we're wrapping them like from the outside in. So it doesn't, you can't just like go over and under because you're going to get in the way of the stacking of the, once you're actually stacking these tips. So we go up on the very last tooth there, back down,
Yep.
over, back around. And then all you have to do is we got a bungee at the end of the am steel, wrap it around the quick hitch, and you're ready to rock and roll. To attach
That's
it to
sweet.
a tree. Yeah, to attach it to a tree. And you can run daisies on this if you love daisies. All you're doing is girth hitching on one side, wrapping it around the tree, and then girth hitching it, basically just through this hole and then around that quick hitch here. And then you're ready to rock and roll. So
And then
very
cinch it
easy.
down just like you would.
Yep. Set it down, and they bite really, really well. They're lightweight. It's awesome, and they're metal. You're going to give you the peace of mind. They are already third-party weight pass testing at the 300 pounds, the standard. So, you can't really ask for much more than that. And there's the tape stick, but one of the personal favorites is the color. I'm a big fan of the Daniel Defense style, like that rifle color that they had. It's that like,
Yep.
You call it mud brown, chocolate brown kind of color, and it disappears on a tree. You don't have to paint it up or nothing. So,
That's pretty damn sweet.
Platform comes in the same color, and for those of you that are trophy line fans or have some of our gear, this is, I don't know what plateau pack you have. Is it the khaki or the mossy?
Great
Mossy
question. Not sure. Oh, I've got the mossy oak one.
Okay, yeah. Mossy. So this is the trim color of our khaki packs where we're going to now. So it disappears.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah. It basically disappears on the pack. And again, I wish I know I have a plateau pack around here somewhere, but the whole bundle like suction cups to the bottom of that pack, which is awesome. Or the platform actually folds flat and can stack in line. You can stack it here on the face if you're using a pack that you would like stage out, or you can flip them around and the platform will fit in between the standoffs and just fold flat, and like it'll be under the standoff height. So if you just want to smack a bundle to a pack and throw a cinch strap around it, whatever you're running, like a more Western or frame pack style, you can do that. So the packability is ultimate function. It's really hard to get anything that's going to stack better than this, be as easy to silence as this, and just all of it. I think it's the complete package for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it immensely whenever they release, which this show is going to come out. Like I said, we're doing these kind of in advance because I'm going on vacation. So this show will come out July 16th. So, you'll be close to release or maybe there by now. I don't know exactly when you're at, but if you're looking to get into saddle hunting, I would strongly consider the Hyperlite setup because you're not going to get a whole, I don't know how you would get much lighter than that as an entire setup unless you do daisy you know, what do you call those, aiders with
Yeah.
just a couple sticks, sure, you're going to save a couple more pounds. But
Right.
if you're looking to get into saddle hunting, you know, that would be a good start. I'm a dude that's only been doing it for one season, and I'm gonna go get the Hyperlite set up because it's gonna make me even happier than I
Yeah.
already was.
Yeah.
And
And I'm running a super lightweight setup. And I mean, for even for me, if I choose not to run all these sticks, you know, it's still lightening my load by maybe not the 50%, but like 30% at least. I mean, it really is. And it's, you know,
right,
I might drop using the aider. I mean, I've kicked a couple times out on the aider. I'm not going to not say that. It's been a little scary. It's a butthole pucker moment for sure. I've slipped right out. You know, I remember Bobby was filming me in Nodak and he just heard this, and I'm like, kick sideways in it. And I'm just laughing because he's, you know, he didn't have the camera up, thankfully, yet. But,
yeah,
you know, I would definitely. I'm excited to run this and U.S. made, which I didn't. I mean, this again, the complete package. 4 sticks. We're gonna sell them in 4 and a single. The 4-pack is gonna be $449, while the platform's at $299. So yeah, they're up there on that price, but you're getting a U.S. made stick, new metal, never hit in the industry before from a you know uh,
mhm.
stick or platform or tree standpoint, and very well thought out. I mean, stacks flat, great packability, really easy to run up and down the tree with, and I think people are going to be extremely happy with them. And yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just
Well, and
ecstatic.
there is times in life, it's not true in everything, but there are times in life where you get what you pay for. And I believe this is one of those times where, yeah, it's not $80, you know, for a pack of sticks and, you know, $100 for a stand. Sure. But you get what you pay for in these situations.
Yeah,
You
something
know,
so light where you're taking it down every time. Like, yeah, you're paying. Like, again, if someone hasn't switched yet, this is like buying that climber and only running the climber. But guess what? It's any tree, any application. So it
yeah.
not, you know, it's not limited like a
Yeah,
climber.
if you're gonna buy these, if you're gonna buy these to leave them up in a tree, you're buying them for the wrong reason. That
Yeah,
these are made to go up and down, right?
yeah, exactly.
If you're gonna buy these, then I would go buy the cheap ass tree stand
Yeah, the
and some cheap
20
ass
feet of
sticks
sticks.
and set
The
them in a
20 feet of
stand.
sticks. Just carry the Hyperlite platform for that matter. If you're hunting, you know, private land. But
Right.
if you like, for me, I have sold my hand climber. I have sold my summits. I have sold my hang-ons. My kids are not at the age yet where they're climbing, so you know eventually I'm going to be there. But I'm going to put up a single ladder stand, and I'm probably going to be the guy that just climbs right behind him and can lean over and instruct in the saddle. You know, just carry one of those just to
Yeah.
give them the experience. You know, I'll just be in the background.
Well, and I'll be honest with you, with the ease of which it's done, you've probably set up 2 double ladder stands. They're a pain to do. You know,
Yeah,
they're heavy. You
yeah.
getting them into the woods, depending on where you're taking them, it's a pain in the ass to hang.
Mm-hmm.
Part of me is like, as soon as I feel like my son's ready to climb, I might just get him a saddle
Well,
and
to
have
that
him
point,
have him
you know,
climb
how much time do you spend doing that, trimming shooting lanes? You know, like it's kind of a mess, and
a
I
lot.
think that, yeah, and I think that now, like, I it's been a while since I've trimmed shooting lanes without just trimming them in the moment. You know, like opening maybe a single like little like okay, here's the mock scrape. I'm gonna go hit that tree, but I've got to break that limb before I get up in the tree. You know, maybe something like
Right,
that
right.
where, but it's been a long time, and I still hunt some private, so it's really cool to say that. I think right now, if anyone's listening that hasn't jumped to it, if you buy whatever saddle hunting equipment, you have enough stuff laying around that's it's gonna replace the sell to cover the cost.
That's likely true. Like I was telling my wife, I'm like, if I get these hyper lights, you know, I still have my mission platform. I still have my ED or my Onyx, and I'm just like, you know, I mean, I could probably just sell. I haven't used the mission since the first day I ever used it.
Right, right.
Why I still have it is beyond me. Like,
Mhm.
I don't know. Well, because I have a buddy who might want to go with me, so I have a platform for him or
Right,
whatever.
right.
Um, yeah, I could sell the Onyx and that, and you know, pay for everything pretty much,
Yep.
right? And then the double minis. I'm probably never going to use them again if I get the Hyperlite sticks, other
Yeah.
than maybe if my son starts doing it. Like there's always that, I do have a son who is old enough that he's about that age where I think he could, competently climb a tree,
Yeah.
without me having to like worry about every movement he makes. So, I mean, I've got some decisions to make, but either which way, the Hyperlite's coming home with me when it comes out. So, hey,
Yep.
Weston, appreciate you coming on so much and talking about, saddle hunting and then the new Hyperlite um, stuff coming out by Trophy Line. Got any last parting words before we hit the stop button on this one?
Yeah, if this releases and we still haven't yet openly started selling Hyperlite, you can still get into our early access by joining our awards. So that's the early access. That's the best way to hopefully ensure that you do get sticks. You just got to start paying attention when we start kind of leaking some more stuff, or when we do pull the trigger. Early access is going to get it first, and then of course look up dealers and everybody's fighting to get a hold of these sticks. So if you see that there is a dealer near you, you can go ahead and call them, and there's a good chance that they're going to have Hyperlite in. You just got to be first to the door. So
Yeah, awesome. Well, man, hey, thanks for coming on, and we're looking forward to those coming out, dude.
yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
All right.